I just love how funny he was. He was very sweet, and I'm gonna miss that. He was always there. Any kid that he got in contact with and helped meant the world to him. And he wanted to, make sure kids go down the right path, not the wrong one. I even recorded his voicemail on my phone so that I can hear it every day.
A mentor, photographer, handyman who had a passion for changing the lives of the youth was a young man himself when his life was senselessly taken away as a result of gun violence at the hands of someone he loved. This is the sad story of Barrington Moore. Barrington Moore was born February 26, 1993. He's described by his big sister Demetria Brown as sweet, funny, a blunt person that would say what's on his mind, but also very respectful. His reputation is one of being an incredible mentor for the youth. He worked at a couple of Metro Nashville public schools, and he stood on his beliefs that the children were the future and just needed the right guidance to lead them in the right path. It's reported that as a young man himself, he spent a lot of time at the Nashville Inner City Ministry, a church mentor program that his mother enrolled him in, and it molded him to be who he became to be for other young people. He was willing and ready to help shape and inspire the kids coming up today, utilizing what he experienced and learned while growing up. In fact, he started working with the youth at the ministry as a mentor, which is what I would call a full circle moment for him. On his Facebook page, he had a quote that said, "Be the parent, not a peer." But as his Facebook page stated, Barrington was a jack of all trades, as he also worked as a digital creator. And in some photos, you could see him playing with his camera. And just on April 13th, he wrote a post listing his other useful skills, informing his community that he offered services in TV mounting, furniture assembly, installation of ceiling fans, light fixtures, door locks, etc., you name it, he knew how to do it. Now, as I sit here and I speak to all the wonderful things that Barrington had going on, I now regretfully have to go into the details of how the very thing that Barrington was passionate about would be the very thing to take him out, which was his love for the youth. You see, on Thursday, April 18th of this year, 15-year-old Darren Fleming was attending a birthday party in a short-term rental property in the 900 block of Youngs Lane in North Nashville, Tennessee. Now, a 15-year-old going to a birthday party sounds pretty normal, no harm, no foul, right? However, not in Darren's case, because Darren was on juvenile court probation, and the terms of his probation required him to be home by curfew, which was at 8 p.m. But 8 p.m. had come and gone, and it had been a whole hour of his mother calling his phone, telling him he needed to come home. This is when his mom calls Darren's big cousin, Barrington, who was also a mentor for Darren, and she asks him to go get his little cousin from the party. So Barrington agreed to go and talk some wisdom into the young bull, per usual, that's what he do. So boom, it's a little bit after 9 p.m. Barrington pulls up to the party. I would imagine this is when Barrington probably knocks on the door, tells folks that he's there for his little cousin, because this is when Darren gets to hiding in some closet in the property because he didn't want to leave the party. And I get it, as a teenager, I never wanted to miss a single party, but I would have never done what Darren proceeded to do, because apparently as Barrington discovered Darren in the closet, this pissed Darren off real bad, and they get to arguing. And then from arguing, they gets to scrapping after Darren gets violent with Barrington. And it was reported that the fight had gotten so violent, and I would imagine with Barrington appearing to have been in great physical shape, Darren, of course, was no match for Barrington. And I can't say if Barrington was like wailing on Darren or maybe just hemming him up or something like that, because no witnesses spoke to that. But either way, Darren became enraged, and he resorted to pulling a pistol out on his own cousin, shooting Barrington dead right there at the scene. It's not said how many times he was shot or if he was shot inside of the property or outside of the property, but police and medics were called to the scene. Barrington was taken to Skyline Medical Center by the ambulance, but unfortunately, There's where Barrington succumbed to his injuries and passed away. And when police were investigating it, it didn't take them much effort because Darren confessed. He ended up admitting to the shooting death of his cousin. And the next morning of Friday, April 19th, Darren Fleming, 15 years old, was charged with criminal homicide and is now being held in juvenile detention until further proceedings. Now, I'm going to read a couple of Facebook posts made by Barrington, as it seemed he was battling maybe a physical or even maybe a mental health condition. But it was so eerie to me what he said in these posts, and then knowing that he ended up having to leave this earth. On April 9th of this year, Barrington wrote, quote, "Lord, it's me, and I'm just here to tell you that I'm ready whenever you are. People, I'm all right. I'm just tired, physically, mentally, and emotionally. No, I'm not talking in S-word form or ways to harm myself. I'm okay," end quote. On April 14th, he wrote, "The greatest blessing of each day is to wake up. God is a great God. I may be in pain and not well, but I serve a mighty, mighty God and still will give praise on this great Sunday morning because he continues to give me life with breath in my body. The Bible says God is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us," end quote. This is another unfortunate story of gun violence and a highlight of the youth's access to firearms in this country. And pair that with young people walking around angry for whichever reason, whether valid or whatever. They're walking around ready to take the lives of their peers, their mentors, parents, guardians, and whoever tells them anything other than what they want to hear. And a lot can be said in conversation about him having a juvenile record, having a curfew, being out at a party while on probation, etc., etc. But that's what the comment section is for. You have the liberty to leave your thoughts there respectfully. A heap of people who knew Barrington took to their social media accounts to express their condolences and illustrate their lovely memories they had with Barrington while he was still alive, while also voicing their deep regret for his departure. A man named Larry Cantrell, who is the executive director at the ministry Barrington mentored at, stated that Barrington's life ended tragically, but his legacy would never be a tragedy. Shelley Hood, a former principal at Two Rivers Middle School, spoke to how much of a difference Barrington's presence made in the lives of the children at the school. She said he would take the kids that were on the border of being out there in gang activity or doing things that he knew would get them into trouble. He would mentor them and talk to them and would just really take over that father figure role for them. She said his loss was devastating to the community and they've been robbed of an inspirational figure. The current administration at Two Rivers Middle School told News 2 they had guidance counselors available for their students the morning after the deadly shooting because the children were so greatly affected by Barrington's death. His sister Demetria said, quote, "I keep calling his phone. I even recorded his voicemail on my phone so I could hear him every day," end quote.
It's been hard for us to eat. It's been hard for us to sleep. Our mind is just all over the place. More to life than, partying and stuff. Just go to school, get your grades, and, make something of yourself.
Brown hopes something positive comes from her brother's murder.
I just hope that a lot of the young kids look at this example today and want to put the guns down, want to go down the right path, to understand that somebody is there for y'all. Y'all just got to let them be there for you.
It's crazy to know how much Barrington believed in the youth and had a love for the children, only for a young person to take his life. My heart and condolences goes out to Demetria, Barrington's mom, all the young people who adored him, and really any and everybody who loved him. Rest in peace, Barrington Moore. May your legacy and spirit live on with your loved ones forever. You'll never be forgotten.